Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Coffee and Cigars live stream here on the Ono Live channel. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. We're here. What is it? It is the 5th of June, and we're here. It's getting hot here in Baltimore. It's pretty hot. Like right now, it was pretty hot today. I was out cutting down a tree, and man, it was super, super hot. I had this walnut tree that kind of fell down during the storm we had a couple weeks ago. Finally got all the limbs cut off, and then finally had the time today to go and like finish the cuts on it. And I got about a 6 foot, maybe a 6 foot piece of walnut that's about this thick that I want to take to the sawyer, but it's so darn heavy. Like it is like I can barely move it. Like it's really ridiculous. I had this idea before when when you started doing this, it's like, oh, you could be a lumberjack and do this kind of like, working with wood, but man, it is it's a lot of work. Forget it. I'm going back to coffee. It's not. So how you guys doing this week? Everything was good. Hope it was well. Yeah, it's pretty hot today. Like we're in the garage, but the doors are open and it's pretty blazing. And here's the crazy thing, right? Like I don't know what's going on with this dude, but this guy. Let me see if I can turn this around, right? So let's turn the camera around. Settings. Not that way. Back triple camera. I don't know what that means, but okay. So up there, you can see there is a bird. It's a hummingbird, and he has been there for the last like 2 hours, flying up there. Like he just won't go away. I've turned off the lights and closed all the doors except for one to try to encourage him to leave, but he won't see the exit, which is like 2 feet below where he's staying. He's like 2 feet too high, and it keeps flying in the same pattern. And I just don't understand what he's doing. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. This bird is just like ridiculously crazy, and I don't know. I don't know. It's very strange. It's very strange. And how do I go back to? Oh, there we go. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild. But today we're going to be talking about some cigars as well as some coffee, as we normally do. So yeah, let's get into that. Let's get into that. We're not going to wait too much time. Like today, since it's pretty hot, I thought let's do another cold brew. And this time we're not going to brew it because proper cold brew takes a good 12 hours. And since I brewed cold brew for yesterday's show on the morning show, I still have it left over. Now, this is a coffee from Nicaragua Community Coffee. My friend Matt roasted this because and the reason that I made it because he was telling me that he didn't like it. He was like, "This is not good. I don't like it anymore. It tastes wrong." And I was like, "Really?" And I was like, "All right, let me get some of it, and I'll check it out and do a test with it." And I thought it was fine. Like I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. George is with us. What's going on, George? How are you, man? I presume you're outside in the kind of warmer weather today. Brian, what's going on to you? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Andrew's with us. What's going on, Andrew? How's it going? And Mom's here as well. Mom, what's going on, Mom? What's happening? What's happening? So this is a coffee that we took. So it's the Matagalpa Community Coffee from Nicaragua. And Matagalpa is a city about 1 hour southish from Esteli, where a lot of the cigars are made. And it's where I buy a lot of coffee from. And I thought it was fine. I mean, when I looked at the coffee that Matt had roasted, it looked perfectly fine. A medium roast, looked very even. Everything looked really good. And so we made it into cold brew and totally thought it was perfectly fine. Like enjoyed it a lot. Tony, what's going on, man? Good to see you. How's everything going? So we've got the coffee here, and it's how long did we do it? We did it for 23 hours of steeping. So the ratio that typically we will use for this style of cold brew is 1 pound of coffee for every gallon of water. And what that does after you let it steep for 16, 12, 16, 20 hours is that it gives you a concentrated brew that will give you twice as much, half as much coffee as you will use. Meaning that when you get your concentration, you will mix that in a 1-to-1 ratio with water to create a normal strength coffee. And that's what we did here. We did it. I only made a quart. So, 1/4 pound of coffee and a quart of water. Let that steep for 20 to 23 hours or so. Then we strained it out and filtered it. And so it's nice and clear. And so let's have a look at the coffee itself. I got our thermal mug. Let me get some ice from the ice bin. My ice has been melting in the ice bin, so I got to drink some of that water. All right, good. Now let's have a look here. The coffee, you can see it. And there it is, just black coffee in a cold brew. And I've been keeping that in the ice, so it's nice and chilled. And so Matt was telling me we were out yesterday, and I was like, and he was like, he was talking about how he doesn't like the coffee. He said, I think there's something wrong with it. And I was like, well, here, try this coffee. I was like, well, is this my coffee? I said, no, there's something else. And so he tried it. And he was like, oh, no, this is actually quite good. I said, it is your coffee because, of course, I told him no, that it wasn't his because, I don't want him to. Because one thing is that you go into certain things with tasting and you have certain preconceptions about it, and that can influence the way you perceive it. So we want to try to avoid that. Nice and full, smooth, really, really round and wide-bodied. A lot of good chocolate and some chocolate notes, but it's more cacao rather than chocolate. And it's also like a darker chocolate, but also a little bit brightness on the cup profile. So it's very clean. Like the finish is very, very clean. Pretty good. All right. So how's everything going? What are you guys smoking tonight? What are you drinking? Let me know in the comments so that I'll know what you got going on. I still have last week's paper here. We need to do some housekeeping here to take care of it. What I've been trying to do with these score sheets, like this is last week with the Macanudo, is I keep the band and I'm trying to attach the band to the score sheet itself, just as kind of like a little remembrance of that coffee. So I've got the glue stick here. I think it was my niece's glue stick. She left it here one day and I've just been using it because, it's here. So then I just put that onto the sheet just like that. And it just kind of like, I don't know, kind of fun, I think. All right, now let's get to it. So today we've got this cigar. Oh, George is with us. George says the Attic series from West Tampa on the balcony. Oh, more West Tampa. Nice. Tony says these are not the droids you seek. All right, today's cigar. Let me look up today's. I was looking up earlier. It's a cigar that I picked up. Where did I pick this up? I picked this up somewhere along the way. I might have picked this up when I was in Texas at Mam's. Or maybe I picked it up at another cigar shop. I just don't remember where I picked it up anymore. But there's a cigar here. This is called the Buffalo 10. And the Buffalo 10 is a 5x56 box pressed, like Toro-ish. Is that right? I'm looking at the link that I put in the description below from Two Guys Cigars. I don't know if Two Guys is part of this or not. I just found it like let's see what they say on their website. They say on the website or Two Guys Cigars website, they say money isn't everything, and they are right. This brand, this price so low, I remember I got this at a cigar shop just in the town of Manchester, Connecticut when I was up there a couple weeks ago for the Fine Woodworking New England event. And I think these were like $5 or something right around $5. So very, very affordable cigar. There was two of them. I got one of these and I got a Connecticut wrapped. And evidently, according to the website here, there is a third, a natural. All of these are 6x50. And so what do they say on Two Guys? They say that the blend is priced so low, you will question how the factory El Artista makes any money. The answer is they make cigars, not money. Oh, gosh. Buffalo 10 is a study in the art of cigar making, from the toothy Mexican San Andres wrapper of the Maduro, which is this, to the rare Negrito tobacco binder and the exclusive 7+ years age T13 hybrid in the filler. This cigar is packed with flavor. Floral, sweet, and a hint of exotic spice, offers a blend unparalleled in price or quality and reminds you of why you smoke El Artista cigars. For the best tobacco at the best prices. Goes on to say the natural field features a chestnutty and spicy Ecuadorian habano with Indonesian binder and packed with incredible tobaccos from the USA, the Dominican Republic, and Nicaragua. Oh, interesting. Buffalo 10 Connecticut is a sweet and fragrant blend featuring a smooth Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, a sweet Cameroon binder, and their filler tobaccos are from the Dominican Republic and Nicaragua for an incredibly smooth and unique smoke. Huh. Okay, so in this particular one that we're having, which is the Maduro, Mexican San Andres wrapper, a rare Negrito tobacco binder, and exclusive 7+ years age T13 hybrid is in the filler. Wow. All right, so that's sounds pretty exciting. Sounds pretty exciting, right? George One says arts and crafts infused with coffee and cigars. The show we have it all. We have it all. We even have restoration going on at the moment, right? Andrew says, unfortunately, the coffee at this hour will keep me up. So Lagavulin 16 and the Cabaguan Corona will have to. Understood. We don't expect everyone to have coffee tonight. Tony's having a My Father, Flor de las Antillas, Toro, and the zero cherry vanilla Pepsi. Gosh, I'm having a hard time speaking in general lately. Oh yeah, that's a great pairing. It's a great pairing. We were at Andrew's on Memorial Day and had some nice beverages. George Brightman was making us some. What was he making? He was making the Kentucky Derby drink, the mint julep, right? Mint julep, and then we had another one that was. Oh, and then we had this like añejo based mojito. Man, just powerhouses. All right, so we're gonna get into this now. Devin's with us. What's going on, Devin? How are you, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. How are things down in Florida? And that's Grand Kahunu or Kohunu 2006. You know what? I'll be honest. I've only had the 2003 Kohonu, and I have had the Grand Kohonu once. I haven't had the other Kohonus. Just because every time I see a Kohonu and I see a 2003, I usually buy that. So if you're asking what you should try, I think you should just yes would be my answer. Yeah, so I picked this up at a cigar shop in Manchester, Connecticut. And this is called the Buffalo 10 Maduro Toro 5x56. So we're going to open it up and get into it. Now it's a Toro, but it's got a box press to it. So I like that. And like I said, I think it was around $5 or $6 for and let's look what what is Two Guys selling it for? Two Guys is selling them. Oh yeah, Two Guys is selling either of the three cigars in this lineup for $6. $6 or a bundle for $104.99, $105. So very good price. Now, if this performs as well as the hype goes for it, that would be crazy. Maybe I'll be calling Mr. Jonathan tomorrow and be like, Jonathan, send me a bundle. A witch. Devin says, yes, I'm asking any inputs from the crowd to be, I say the grand. I say my vote is for the grand. I don't know what Tony will tell us. Tony will tell us what he thinks. All right, now I have lost in the last 2 days, I've somehow misplaced the cutter that I use here in the garage. So at least I have my knife. We're gonna cut this open. You gotta be careful when you're using a knife, right? This is a brand new knife. I just made it. I made the handle, and you could see the shoddiness of my work, right? Like, look at that. It's like perfectly machined. Like the koa wood from Hawaii is perfectly machined. Look at that perfection of the placement of the screw, right? Look at that. Beautiful. Recessed and everything. Like, this is like masterful woodworking. Look at the shape, right, of the shaping. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. And the grain pattern. Look at that. Now, what you don't want, what I don't want you to, what I'm not going to show you, what I'm not showing you is that, you know, it looks great, but I can't match the two holes that are here. Like, I couldn't match it. Like, I was totally off. There's two holes here, one hole here, and after that, I was like, you know, forget it. I'm not even going to try to match them. I'm just going to super glue it in place, and I don't have to worry about it. At the Woodcraft, they sell these knife kits, so you can buy this knife kit. This was like maybe like $10. And then it comes with everything except for the handle, the wood, and you just put your own wood. And I was like, oh, I'll do that one day. And now this month they have a special for a machete for like 25 bucks. I was like, ooh, machete for 25 bucks. I might buy it. I might buy it. Okay, so let's take this off here. I should probably use my glasses because I really can't see it. Okay, better. George Juan says to smoke them both. That's actually, you know, it depends on how fast you go. Like, if I'm smoking on my own, I typically will do two. Devin says about to rain here, so I'm smoking in the rain tonight, drinking. But I imagine, well, the Willet Ride, that's nice. But I imagine in Florida, when you say you're smoking out in the rain, I feel like everyone in Florida has a covered pool. So it's nice. It's a nice touch. Like, you don't have to like worry about bugs or like getting wet. You just kind of go outside. You got the breeziness and the smoke, and especially when it's raining and it's raining hard, it's cooler, and you're like, oh, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. So I hope you enjoy that. That sounds like a lovely time. Devin says I had the A Uno last night, which was a long smoke. Gotcha. Oh, the A size. Oh yeah, the A size are crazy big. Tony says both are excellent, but I would probably go Grand Kohonu as well. See, Grand Kohonu it is. Go for the Grand Kohonu. Excellent choice there, Devin. Excellent choice. But why are you thanking him? I'm the one that told you Grand Kohonu. What is that all about? Practice inlay to fill those. Oh, that's a good point. Maybe I should practice inlay. And what you guys may not know is Andrew is actually a very accomplished woodworker, but his woodworking is like hyper like accurate kind of woodworking. Like, I'm kind of hacking my way through all of this, right? But Andrew's like building like he's like building ships in bottles. That's like a whole level of awesomeness that I can build a chair and like make a lot of mistakes in it, then hide them fairly. So they're not really very, very well at all. But um, Andrew's like building ships in bottles. Like, that's next level kind of like stuff there. All right, so I didn't even cut cigar yet. Okay, let's. I hear you. I hear you, David. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna be careful here. So I got this sharp knife. It's super sharp right now. But my problem is I'm not very good at sharpening. Like, I really need to practice more of sharpening. Oh, that's pretty good. Not bad. And I better close this before I cut myself. All right, so there's our cut. Nice, nice. There's the foot. Ooh, sweet. Like sweet, lightly tetra fish food, but very light. No, or just not more sweet fish food rather than, like pungent fish food. Let me write this down here. Today is the 5th. The 5th. And we have a Buffalo 10. All right, so the fragrance. think it's very pleasant. Actually, that's very pleasant. It's very nice. A cold draw. Wow, there's a real nice depth of complexity in the cold draw. Maybe a little bit of cloves, some spice. Oh, actually, that's very pleasant. Some sweetness. Oh, my gosh, that's quite good. All right, let's light it up. I got my torch lighter. Let's see if this will work. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Like I said, I couldn't find my, I don't know where I put the cutter, and along with that was my Jeep lighter. I think that I think for the first category, fragrance and cold draw, I think it was very good. So I'm going to say 8. Is that right? Yeah, very good. Yeah. First puff there, a bit of spiciness, complexity. Actually, this is quite interesting. But it makes me wonder, like, will this be like another cigar that I remember trying? So there's another company that does 3 cheap cigars with these type of wrappers, like a Ecuador, like a Connecticut, a Maduro, and a natural a Habano, I think. And that's the factory smokes from Drew Estate. And I remember when I first tried those, they were like $3 a few years ago. And I really kind of liked the Maduro. It was $3, but super cheap. And I was like, oh, this is pretty tasty. And I smoked a couple, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a couple more. And I got a couple more. I probably smoked about 5. And then after about 5 cigars of that factory smokes Maduro, I got a little bit tired of it. And then I just kind of like, don't even want to go back to it. I'm wondering if this might be like that. You know, starting off nice, spice, interesting, good complexity. Maybe this is going to be that cigar like that, and then after a few cigars, if I like it, after a few cigars, then it's just going to be like, oh, I can't stand it anymore. But so far, the initial light, wow, surprising. I mean, if this can hold up like this, it might be. I mean, it's not. It's got some spice. It's got some cloves. Like I said, it's got some nice spice, some sweetness, good complexity, but not deep complexity, right? Like sometimes you get these cigars and they got this deeper complexity to it. This doesn't. Right now, it doesn't feel that way. It kind of feels like surface level complexity. Not that that's a bad thing, right? But while I'm enjoying the first few puffs, and I'm liking the flavor combinations, I'm not feeling a guttural reaction to it yet. But we have some time, so we're gonna find out. But the smoke production right now, very good. Like, look at it's been good smoke production. Draw is very nice. All right, all right. Happily, the temperature seems to be getting a little bit cooler. Because I think we were in the 90s today, right, guys? I mean, it's 90s. Like, I was like, oh gosh, I'm cutting this tree, and in the 90s, it was like brutal, like doused in sweat, and I was wearing pants and then chaps. I had my chainsaw chaps. And did you know that chainsaw chaps are assless chaps? But man, in 90 weather, you got to wear long pants. Woo! I have been paranoid about the chainsaw thing, so that's why I was like, I need to get my PPE together. So I got my helmet with the shield and the muffs. And I had to make sure I got the right gloves, the chainsaw gloves, as well as the chainsaw pants. You know, I got to make sure that in case it slips or kicks back, you know, I don't want to cut my leg that badly. Maybe I went too fast. Maybe we'll slow down. So I mentioned a little while ago that we're also doing restoration work here. And I started this restoration project because, kind of a surprise, I was looking for a part for a vacuum system, and I found this part. It's a big, like, conical shaped cyclone. This guy was selling one for like very cheap, and I was like, "Oh, can I come pick it up?" He's like, "Yeah, come on over." I was like, "All right, went over there." As we're hanging out at his shop, his wood shop, he's like, "I'm selling this bandsaw too." Bandsaw? Yeah, I got a bandsaw. Do I need another bandsaw? Actually, I do need a bigger bandsaw, right? That'd be nice. And for a song, he's like, "You can have for a song." And I was like, "What?" So I was like, "Okay, why not?" It works. It tracks true. Works really well. But it's old. Like, it's way old. Like, you guys probably seen these Delta bandsaws, these what they call the Delta 14-inch bandsaw, and there's a particular style to them that's very ubiquitous. There's millions of these made, like, and many companies have copied the design, you know, over and over. All the brands have copied this design, but this one is one of the very first, and I mean quite literally the very first, one of the very first. So the Delta 14, which is known as the Delta Model 890, was they started to produce it in 1934, and for 3 years they produced this particular version of the bandsaw, the very first version. And the way you could tell that is by one of the ways is on the shrouds they had these three ribs, and that's one of the hallmarks of that era. These 3 years, I don't know how many they made in those 3 years. But if you fully, what is it? If you fully kitted it out in 1934 or 1935, it would have set you back a whopping $75, which in today's times doesn't seem like a lot. But if you calculate out to 2025 numbers, that's $75 in 1935. In 2025 is about almost $1,600. So the equivalent price of this bandsaw then is how much a lot of the bandsaws in modern times cost. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So the person that had owned it got it from another guy. And whoever owned it before, at some point in time, had painted it. They painted it's originally gray, and they painted the shroud red, and they painted the frame white. And while the shroud looks pretty good, the frame is terrible. Like, as far as the paint job is terrible. So I have we had to, so in order to transport it, we had to take it apart so you could, you know, make it pieces, because it's a cast iron saw. So it's completely assembled. It's wildly heavy. It's like maybe almost 300 pounds, and it's all vertical, right? So it's all like crazy. So I took it apart. I kept the whole main body together. I didn't separate the two halves to transport it down here. Then I got it down here, and I was like, you know what? I got it apart already. I might as well clean it up and refurbish it, right? And so that's what I've been working on today, the last couple of days. Andrew says, I rarely smoke the same cigar in a row, but rather rotate through a number of regulars with the occasional introduction of something new. Even the best cigar had too frequently, even the best cigar had too frequently may get commonplace. I hear you in that. And most of the time, I don't even want to smoke the same cigar over, even though I've enjoyed it. Like, I've had a couple times, I've thought about it. But the king of that, of like having like one cigar that he likes and smokes multiples of that particular cigar in one session, is Brian. Brian likes to do that. And sometimes we'll sit there and I'm like, why do you do that? It's like, I guess he doesn't feel like he wants to open another box. So But you know, if it's a good cigar and you're enjoying it, well, why not continue? Why not continue the journey? And Tony agrees, absolutely. And Tony says, red does make it. I totally agree. I'm going to keep. I'm keeping the red. I'm not going to change the red. But I couldn't. I can't. I was like, I'm going to change everything else. So I took it and I disassembled it. I put it doesn't the bottom base doesn't look like it, but I actually put paint stripper on it yesterday, and was scraping it off. But it didn't penetrate all the way because I don't know what kind of paint that is. But I got to put more, and I've been bathing the parts like took all the parts and I put them in a rust bath. So there they are now. Hopefully I can remember how to reassemble this thing. It's a good thing we have phones because you can take pictures of everything and like hopefully remember how to reassemble. I thought I lost a spring as I was taking it out of the bath, but I didn't, which was great. But and the nice thing is that you see bandsaws and they have like cast iron spoked wheels. This one doesn't. This has like a steel wheel, or maybe it's cast aluminum. It's aluminum. I don't know. I think it feels steel to me, and it's solid. And here's the crazy. And I was kind of hesitant to take it apart because, like I said, the saw ran true. Like when it was assembled, this wheel looked like it was wobbling a little bit, right? Just like a slight oscillation at speed. But it tracked perfect. I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy! I can't believe it. I can't believe it's tracking that well." But now that I've taken it completely apart, and we'll have to reassemble it, hopefully I can get the geometry correct and make the wheels coplanar. But it's going to be an adventure. So I'm thinking that I'm going to make the frame. So this is the upper part. It's all sand casted iron, right? And the newer ones, the more modern of these version of this 14 saw, it's actually more of a skeleton, like it's not this full casting because it's totally hollow in here. So it's just a different approach. I think it's hella bulletproof. So we're gonna work on it and see what we can see. But I think we're gonna make the main body black, even though it was gray originally. And then maybe I'm at least black on that part. Maybe some yellow somewhere. The wheels I might make gray. The kind of the battleship gray, the kind of standard gray color for Delta tools, which actually has a slight tint of like green. The original I left part of the original paint on the top of the base. That's where the two halves meet, so it'll be protected. So that someday, in another 100 years, someone in the future will be able to rebuild it and maybe match the paint to the original. But it's interesting. I think it's interesting to work on a project like this because it's very, very different. But cleaning off all of the paint with this paint strip, I'm using something called citrus strip, which is a citrus-based stripper. And it's not as I was going to use this product called Jasco, which is evidently highly toxic. Like you want to wear like butyl gloves to protect your skin, and long sleeves and long pants and protected shoes with face shields and respirators. But I was like, I'm not going to do that. But I am surprised at how. I mean, I presume that the Jasco would have stripped this shell completely already in one go because it's so caustic. But the citrus strip, for the most part, it's done a very good job overall, I think. I just need to like go through it. And then for the rust, I used something called Rustivap, right? Which worked pretty well. Andrew says your lumberjacking is paying off. if that disc is iron. No, no, I don't think it's steel. It's steel, not iron. Like you can see, it's stamped, right? Like you can see here, the little rivets, and then you can see the seam in the in the house. But it's not. I mean, but that being said, it's not light. Like it is somewhat heavy. Now the frame itself is like a beast. It's a beast. It's a beast. Let's see. So this is the frame, right? There's the frame. Like this is a beast. This is the yeah. This is like tilting it this way is not too big of a deal, right? But if I tried to pick it up from and I'm leaning over like maybe about a foot and a half, 18 inches, I can't do it. Like it's just too far a reach for me to do that. But the top arm, it says pounds 26, but I don't. I can't, I think this is more than 26 pounds, right? Like there's also all kinds of crud inside. There's little like burrows from like animals or insects that were inside here. So I've been slowly clearing that out, but this is the frame. You always forget though that how long it takes to do this kind of work. You're like, that could be done in a day. I probably I could have just reassembled it and like started using it right away. But I was like, I want to make it look nice, right? I don't want it to look all like. Plus, I have a design scheme, a design language that I have here in the garage that I want to implement for this. So this will kind of follow along with that design language. Tony says white and red. Did he think it was a jet? I think he did. I think he did. But the white looked terrible. Like the white was just all like he just basically spray painted it on. It was really like he did it. Whoever did a nice job on the shroud, but everything else, the white was just a disaster. I mean, maybe there were two different owners that did that at different stages, but yeah, disaster. But they got the saw came with a base that somebody had made with a out of plywood, which is looks fairly nice, looks fairly nice enough, and gray as well. I'm gonna paint it my blue. I have a blue color that I'm using for bases. The same, essentially, basically the same color as this worktop, right? That'll be the base color, and then the black frame with the red shrouds, and then like yellow accents for like the blade guards, right? So the blade guards so you kind of like to let you know that oh, here's the danger. Oh, so far, very nice, very good. Just joining us, this is the Buffalo 10 Maduro, $5.99 from Two Guys Cigar. I picked it up in Manchester, Connecticut, at a cigar shop there, and the guy was like, "It's really good." And I was like, "All right, I'll give it a try." And it's surprisingly enjoyable. Like it's for $6, for $5, $6, $6. But he wants to know if you did that in festool colors, would that be some kind of violation? No, actually, a lot of guys do. A lot of guys do. I thought about that briefly, but I don't know how to make the green work with that. Like if I saw somebody had there was a saw, there was this model saw, similar model saw, more modern, that was on festool market. I mean, on Facebook Marketplace a few weeks ago. That the guy had painted. He didn't use the blue. He just used the shrouds instead of red. He painted like a bright lime green, like a festool green. And I was like, okay, that's too much. That's too much. Maybe to do if I was to do it, I would do the shroud. I would do maybe then do the body gray, shrouds that dark blue, and then like maybe pinstriping in the festool green. That would be kind of fun. But it's not a festool product, so I saw one guy do a restoration video on YouTube of this type of saw as well. He did the body in purple, and I was like, oh, that looks really kind of cool. But maybe that's too far for me. I think the black. And then I saw Jimmy DiResta, who's a YouTuber. I was watching like restoration videos of like bandsaws the last couple of days or yesterday. And Jimmy DiResta bought this super humongous, like 20-foot, like bandsaw, right? From like the 1700s or whatever. The guy restored it, said to painted the body in black and put yellow pinstriping on. And I saw the video. I was like, oh, the yellow pinstripe. I was like, pinstriping. This is a good idea. But if you buy the pinstriping pen, there's a special pen that I think you prime it with you put the paint in, you prime it, and then it's got a wheel and you can draw with it, right? You can just draw it along the line. I looked it up on Amazon, $240. And I was like, oh, that's like way more than I was paid for the saw itself. Devin says, danger, the smoke is coming from inside the house. Wait, here or at your house? If it's at your house, I don't have any, I'm not noticing any smoke here, but that would be a bad thing. But luckily I have, well, hopefully they work, but I've got a bunch of like fire extinguishers at the ready. Devin says, I also got a box of Illusione Singulares, one of my recent favorites era cigar. Oh, one of my favorite recent eras. Yeah. The Illusiones are nice. One year we were down in Esteli hanging out with Dion Giolito, the owner of the Illusione, and Paul Palmer, the guy that kind of runs Aganorsa, or he used to. I don't know if he's still. I know Paul's still involved. I think he's kind of like, letting the younger bucks take over. Tony says it has to be Festool colors, or else they might revoke. They can never revoke that. Actually, they have a website called the Festool Recon site for recondition. And last night they dropped, or like the night before, they dropped all of these. They dropped, like, normally you just go there and you get one tool a day or one tool at a time. And they sell that, and whatever these are like reconditioned tools. So whenever they sell out of whatever they have, they move to the next one. They must have had a big surplus because, man, they hit it with like 2 pages filled with like all kinds of stuff. And I was like, man, I just bought my bandsaw. I'm not going to buy nothing else. But if you're interested in Festool, the Recon site is a good way to get the tools at as good a discount as you can expect to get. And the hummingbird is still here. I don't know why the hummingbird hasn't figured out that you have just fly down. You can see the outside. You can see the trees. Just fly down and go and be with your people. Be with your avians. They're very small, like about that big. I'm enjoying this. I am enjoying this quite a lot. Like, I'm enjoying it, and I want to puff faster, harder on it. If we were to compare it to things like, let's say, the Roma Crafts, it doesn't have that level of depth. It has good complexity, but it doesn't have that level of depth, right? There's a depth to other cigars that this feels like it's missing. Like, if we were to think about like a cigar experience as being deep, right? We have a lot of cigars that are deep as you're smoking. This is like this deep versus the other ones that are that deep, right? Devin says, No, no, that was okay. Gotcha. Tony says that hummingbird might not have night vision, so it's hanging out by the lights. Well, that's what that's what I was thinking. Like maybe it's like because it was hanging out by the light, and I was like, let me turn off the light. So I turned off all the lights, left the doors open, still didn't go to the light. Okay, so I was like, okay, maybe if I close the doors except for one and the window, make sure the window's nice, kind of darkened, then it will see one light and fly there. No, didn't do that either. And so finally I was waiting here and I was like, all right, got to do the show now. So I'm going to open the doors again and go back, turn on the lights. And then he's still here, still doing his thing. So how was your guys' week? Anything happen? I'm trying to think what's been going on. Like I was quite busy this past week, but I was like, man, what am I doing? But whenever I think about it, like, what did I do? I don't know. It was pretty good. Like if you were to think about a cheap cigar, or affordable, very inexpensive cigar that you could have and would be enjoyable enough. I think that's where we are with this right now. Maybe that we're in the first towards moving towards the end of the first third. Maybe it's a little bit, like I said, it lacks that. I feel like it lacks some depth. So maybe we're getting a little bit on the longer side. I feel like I want to tap it. I'm going to tap it so we can lose that. I don't like it falling all over the place. Andrew says, have you changed cameras? I can read the plates on the wall, which previously read reverse. So if you were watching, so this is where we have a difference. So I have not, I'm still using the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which is the same one that I use for all of these like remote type of live streams. What's different about this, so you probably are recalling from other episodes of like the Coffee Q&A, where I'm using YouTube as the streaming service for that show. On this particular show up here, you can see in this corner, it says StreamYard. I'm using a service called StreamYard for this, which allows me to do the overlays like this. And I don't really use that for the morning show because we've never really had that on the morning show. So I never really worried about going back to this. Plus, this version will only stream because I'm using the free version. It's only streaming in 720 instead of the 1080 that I can stream on YouTube. But YouTube, for whatever reason, when we're using the front-facing camera, the person, that the one in the front, it does it in reverse. I don't know why it does that. It drives me insane. But what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do? But that's why you can read it in the background normally. Rusty's with us. What's going on, man? Fashionably late, but got home and lit up my Blue Heaven cigar with a Dunkin' iced coffee. Nice. I got iced coffee too, not quite Dunkin's. Well, next week, our show next week, by the way, is going to be. I think we're going to be on the road again because I have to figure that out because I have to go. I'll be going to Pennsylvania on Thursday morning because I have a tour scheduled at a place called the Wharton Esherick Museum. And Wharton Esherick is another one of these woodworkers, very famous woodworker that I only learned about in the last like 2 months. But interesting work, and he was kind of like the inspiration for George Nakashima. So I wanted to go and check out his place. So I scheduled a tour for that Thursday. and I was going to stay overnight in Philadelphia because Friday they're having this at one of the one of the woodworking shops there. They're going to have a festool event with the rep that I know, Phil. And so I was like, oh, maybe I'll just go and hang out there for a night and then go to the event. So we're going to do it on the road next week. Tony says, hopefully that's a Mocha Dunkin' iced coffee. There is a pleasure to the mochas. There is a pleasure. I went to a place yesterday, a coffee trailer, and I ordered a cappuccino, and they served me a 12-ounce cappuccino, which I'm usually against, but it was actually quite enjoyable. I was like, well, this is very nicely done. A place called Diga Coffee Bar on Timonium Road. For those of you here in Baltimore, that trailer that's at the Amico station on Timonium Road is actually fairly decent. Rusty is asking, you coming in here for that photo? I am supposed to go. But there's something that came up. Oh, I have to. I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but there's something called the B&H Photo has something called the Build Expo, BILD Expo. That's supposed to be for creators, and they started last year, and I wanted to go last year. I registered for it last year, but I just wasn't able to make it last year. It's a free registration, so it's nice like that. So I figured and B&H is going to do it because they want to sell more products. So they sell you on what they're selling, and so you buy from them. And B&H is a great supply house. Like if you need something, you want it tomorrow, they're going to send it to you tonight, unless it's Saturday. Then they're orthodox, so they do nothing on Saturdays. From sunset on Friday to sunset on Saturday, nothing happens with them. Their website shuts down, the store is closed, you can't do anything. But any other day, it'll be there next day. And I typically will go to them if my local, we have a local camera shop here in Baltimore called Service Photo, which is actually an excellent camera shop. One of the very last remaining in the war in America. The nearest one is a place called Old Dominion down in Reston, Virginia. And they also have a location in Falls Church. But those are the only two camera shops in the area, in the region. So it's very, 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 there's a dearth of camera shops. But I try to buy everything. I always try to buy everything local. I'm really big into local buying. Like I just like that idea. I like it that I can go to a place and know people there, and then if there's an issue, they always will. You better chances them taking care of it. I try not to buy on Amazon. Like I don't even have everyone that I know seems to have Amazon Prime. I have no Prime. I've never had Prime. Every time it comes up, try Prime for free for 30 days. No, thank you. No, thank you. I do not want to pay $150 a year for Prime. I'm not going to watch your shows. I don't need, and what I buy on Amazon, I don't need it tomorrow. If I need it tomorrow, I got family members that I can call and be like, hey, order this for me. I need it tomorrow. So I don't do the Prime, and because I only go to Amazon if I really, really have to. Tony says, speaking of coffee bars, there's a new one in Shrewsbury right across from the cigar shop. Oh, really? From the cigar shop in Shrewsbury. Where's the cigar shop in Shrewsbury? I didn't even know there was one there. Rusty says it's an ice black, trying to watch my sugar. He has to watch the figure, the girly figure is important. If you took Ozempic, you wouldn't have to worry about it. You would just lose. It would just be, you could do whatever you want. Miracle drugs. So nice. It started out very exciting. I think it's continuing along this good curve, like a nice. I think it's still continuing with its flavor. I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit bored with it. Like it's not, like I said, it's missing this depth to that complexity, so that it doesn't carry with you. That was the interesting thing. Like if I compare it to last week's cigar, the Macanudo Duke of Windsor, light cigar, nice complexity, but it does carry that. It has a depth to it that carries through. This is different in that respect. Ah, New Freedom. Okay, okay, gotcha. George Vaughn says Alex Sears was a great into an Aladino. Oh, was great, and now he's on to the Aladino. Oh, nice. Aladino, I do like them. I learned about Aladino from two guys. Listening to the Cigar Authority podcast, which I haven't listened to in like over a year now. But there was a time when I was listening to it all the time. And I went up to Two Guys Cigars because they kept talking. Well, they always talked about Aladino on the two guy on the Cigar Authority. So when I was at Two Guys, I was like, finally, nobody at the time had them. This is like maybe 2018. So I went up there and I was like, oh, you got the Aladino. Let me buy some of these Aladinos. And I really like them. I really think they're great. But the West Tampas have been quite impressive, I think. I first got the West Tampa when I was up at that place, Tony, in King of Prussia. What's the name of that place? Cigar or something? But I tried it there first. That was really good. I was working on some projects earlier this week that have stopped now because I've got my workspace is now taken over by this restoration project. I'm trying to make these carts for these sanding units that I have so I can like move them around. I got everything cut out. I just have to assemble them. But I was like, oh, now I don't have space. The Shadow Vault is with us. What's going on, Shadow Vault? Needs more complexity or maybe a transition. Ah, that would be nice too. Overly consistent cigars can get boring, but a boring cigar has its place, like mowing or working on the car, mowing the lawn, or mowing the lawn, or working. I agree with that. Do you smoke while you're working on a car? I wonder. I think I might be worried that maybe maybe my cigar smoking might ignite something. I saw this video the other day where this guy was like doing something with his battery in his car or something, and he touched something wrong, and it basically lit the car on fire. Like I guess he must have had like gas or something out on the engine somewhere, so it ignited, and like the whole thing just went up, and he like was panicking. So but he was able to. He was inside his garage. He was smart enough to like, or had enough wherewithal to get in the car, just turn it on, or he was running, get in, reverse it, and pull it out of the garage. So I was like, oh my gosh. So he lost the truck. I think it was like a Suburban or something like that. He lost that, but he didn't lose his garage. So smart. Rashi says, Tony, have you tried the West Tampa Devil Crab? Oh, Devil Crab now. What is a Devil Crab? Oh, by the way, speaking of crab, yesterday my friend was like, hey man, did you know that Gibby's, so we have a place here in Baltimore, or in Timonium, not too far from here, a place called Gibby's Seafood, and they're like they're more of a market, and they're a gourmet seafood shop, but they're really known as a market. You go there, you buy crabs, like Maryland blue crabs. You can buy like all this raw fish if you wanted, raw oysters, everything like that. But they also have prepared food, always seafood. And the nice thing about this place that I like the most is that I can go there. Let's say if I'm in the mood for like fish and chips, I go there and say, hey, I want this piece of cod. Let me buy this piece of cod. Will you please cook it? And they will cook it. They'll broil it, bake it, fry it, whatever you want. They'll do it, pan, sear it, or whatever. And it's really cheap. They only charge you like $1 to cook it. And I was like, oh, that's a great deal. My friend was like, oh man, they have this crab cake lunch special. Like, what do you mean? So crab cake on like a Kaiser roll with fries for like $10 or $11. I think it was $10.99. I was like, what? And it was a size of, it was, you know, small crab. It's not like the big ones that you get at like G&M or these big, like, or the places you know about in Baltimore. It's a small crab cake, but filling. And I was like, oh, this is good. Not lump meat, it's more of the back fin meat, but man, good. So if you're interested in, if you're in the area and you want to have a nice lunch for relatively cheap, that was pretty good. I think with a bottle of Coca-Cola, it was like $13. And I think they might even have Pepsi there, Tony. Shadow says, I mean, don't be a dummy and smoke while messing with fuel line or something like that. But something like an oil change or changing this brakes is, okay, okay. Like my brother is like a master mechanic. Like he's totally like if we go to his shop, like he would never allow me to smoke. Smoke in his shop. I'm like, I would smoke up. No, you guys could do that. Like if I worked on cars, I probably would do that. I haven't done it too much while working, doing the woodworking thing because, you know, the dust. Maybe I might ash somewhere and something catches on fire, and then like I've got another problem. But after I've cleaned up everything, oh yeah. Well, I mean, of course, I'm in the space right now. So, but I think Shadow, you have to say, don't be a dummy because you know someone like me, I might just do exactly that. Be like, oh look, it's worth the fuel lines and light up at the same time with my torch. And I'm not using a regular torch. I'm going to use the big propane Coleman torch, the Burns-O-Matic torch. Rusty says, curiosity got me. Ordered some of the Wooden Indian tobacco. Oh, where's Wooden Indian? I've heard of that place. So we got more of this. And we're going pretty fast. Okay, so I would just say we're finished the first third. So I mean, it's very good. But I'm going to say 8 for flavor, medium bodied, 8 there as well. Yeah, you know, you just really have to like be careful. You can't. Yeah, for me, you can't. It's terrible. It's terrible. Oh, it's in Pennsylvania, Wooden Indian. Okay, gotcha. Where in Pennsylvania is that? Easton? Because when I was coming back from Connecticut, I was driving. I ended up driving 80 across Connecticut 84, and then coming across I think 78 through Easton, and then down 222. And during that whole stretch, man, I was looking for cigar shops. I'm driving and I'm looking on Google Maps. I'm like, cigar shop, cigar shop. Nothing. Like, so there was a couple, but they were like way out of the way. Like, if I got off the freeway, I'd probably have to go like another 10 miles or so off the freeway to get to wherever these cigar shops were. So I ended up being able to go to Cigars International, the big store that's in Bethlehem. And that was the only place I could get a cigar. I was like, man, it's terrible. Havertown. No idea where that is. I'm presuming it's somewhat closer to you on the eastern side of the state. Is that right? Andrew says the cigar is the treat after working on the Healy or the Land Cruisers at Leo. Oh yeah, that Land Cruiser. If you guys are familiar with the old school like 70s era Toyota Land Cruiser, the one that looks like a Jeep. Like I just saw a new one. I saw a new one on the street yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of dope looking." But the old one of Andrew's friends, Lance, brought it to the Memorial Day thing, and he was like showing it. And beautiful restoration. Like this restoration was like some of the best I've ever seen. And then he was like, "Have you seen the engine?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Have a look." LS3 Corvette engine in a Land Cruiser, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I told one of my good friends in Saudi Arabia, He bought an old school Nissan Patrol and put an LS3 Corvette engine in it, and it was outrageous. We drove it around Riyadh, and I was like, "This is insane." So, and that's a heavier vehicle, bigger vehicle, right? The Nissan Patrol, which looks like a big station wagon size SUV, where the Land Cruiser is like a small, like Jeep Wrangler with an LS3 engine in it. Oh my God. I can only imagine what that must be like to drive. Tony says, very nice. I have a box of red Lanceros marinating in my cabinet. Ooh, very nice, very nice. Craig says, what's going on, Craig? How are you, man? I'm trying to buy 1978 Land Cruiser right now. Ooh, good luck. LS3 engine. Totally like worth it. And I think Andrew can be more clear on this than I remember, but he had like I think he had like three shifters, right? There's the standard four, and then he had high-low range, and then he had two-wheel, four-wheel drive. And I was like, good Lord, man, this is a crazy vehicle. Like, this is epic. It was epic level of restoration. Rusty says they're having an event with Eric Espinoza coming up. Probably going to go and see if the 2025 Knuckle Sandwich Chef Select will be released. Ooh. Maybe what you should do is like, why don't you like Instagram message him, Eric Espinoza, and say, hey, I'm coming to the event. Will you be bringing the knuckle sandwich? Oh, we're not going to release it. Maybe you might, or maybe you'll bring a sample. Couldn't hurt to ask. Oh, speaking of which, if you guys happen to know, what is his name? I can't remember his name offhand. A friend of mine asked me if I could help her try to get in touch with the manager of the band Coldplay. So I reached out to a friend of mine that works at Fender Guitar. But if you guys happen to know anyone that might know the manager of Coldplay, let me know. She's a professor at Western Kentucky University, and wants to talk to them about a school project. But I was like, I don't really know anyone, and I don't really know people in the music industry that well. But I figured I'd ask. Tony's asking, do you have the 2024 selection? I'm presuming you're asking that of Rusty or somebody else. I don't know. Tony says, did you buy the new Land Cruiser with the round or rectangular headlight? Oh, do you buy the new? Oh, I didn't know there was an option of that. And I only saw it on the Beltway, like fleeting. It was like, oh, there it goes. I think I'll go with round. Like I think about when I was living in Hawaii, I used to own. I had back a long time ago. I had a 1979 Toyota pickup, the Hilux, and I bought it from some dude who had like done all this work. He dropped a 22R engine in it. He put like centerline wheels, thrust shifter. He had like a chain steering. No, did he have a chain steering wheel? I know he had a chain steering wheel. Like it was kind of dope, right? It was all busted up, but it was like, oh, this is kind of cool, right? I crashed that, unfortunately. But that one, I really like that style, and that one had a round headlights. Other models of that truck came out with square headlights, and I don't think it was as attractive. I think so. For me, if I was to get the new Land Cruiser and I could choose it, I would probably choose the round. Craig says this one has rebuilt stock 6, but with an aftermarket feel. Ooh. Oh, so it's already been restored. Because what Lance was telling me when we were looking at his truck, he was telling me that he bought it from a guy, I think down in Alabama. So they went down and they had to drive it back. And it was pretty much a basket case. Like it was all rusty and all kind of messed up. So he really replaced a lot of it. Oh, but good luck in that. I hope you get it. I think there's a really, really crazy looking trucks. But after doing like off-roading, like I used to have a 1995 Land Rover Discovery that we used to take wheeling a lot. And the Discovery was The U.S. models had V8 engines based on the small block Buick, which was pretty cool. But it had automatic transmission, and at first you think, oh, you want to have the manual. But after actually wheeling on with it, I'm glad it didn't have that, because I would see other guys and using like older like series Land Rovers with their, and you have the balancing of your, the clutch, and then the gas brake and shifting. Like I could do it because I learned how to drive with stick. But man, it would just be like it would just add more complexity. Plus your legs get like tired. But it was nice to like not have to like hold the vehicle, like the vehicle would hold itself in gear. Rusty says I have a box from each year since the start in 2022. Oh, nice. Plus I got a box of the Cigar Dojo collab with Knuckle Stamp. Oh, very nice, very nice. Hey, do you have a favorite of those chef selects? Tony says they have a retro trim that has the round old school LED headlight. Oh, I think I would go with that. If it was me, I like that. I like the concept of retro looking. So if you're thinking about buying one, Tony, you should definitely buy one. But well, I was going to say, will it have the same creature comforts as the Honda Ridgeline? I don't know. The Ridgeline is pretty dope. Somebody just the other week, last week, came up to me. I was in my with my Toyota, and he was like, "Hey, would you be interested in selling it?" It's like the second time in the last several months that someone's asked me if I want to sell it. I don't know what's going on in the world of like Toyota trucks, but man, I'm kind of surprised people want to buy this 10-year-old truck. I was kind of tempted to say yes. I was like, "Oh, really? All right." Good idea, Dan. Oh, gosh, yeah, that's what you should. I would probably do something like that. Worst he can do is say no, I can't do it. But he might be enthused enough that you're enthusiastic enough to ask him. Especially if you say, I've got all in the entire collection. I wonder if you might be releasing them. And if you're not releasing them, might you be able to bring one along? Be bold. Why not? Be bold. Be bold. Be bold. Craig says, for your information, no smoke from me as there's too much smoke from the wall. Oh, you guys are having wildfires in Ottawa? I didn't know that. Man, I hope that's not going to be bad for your house. How's the house, by the way? I saw you've been out there doing the racing thing again. Well, not racing, but doing your officiating thing. That's awesome. Glad to see that. Rusty says, is the wildfire smoke headed to the US? Probably. Was it last year? Was it last year we had, was it Canadian wildfires or 2 years ago that was bringing smoke to America, or were we had American wildfires bringing smoke across North America? I don't remember. Tony says, I drifted 100 feet backwards in my 5-speed Isuzu on that Land Rover trip because of that. Yeah, it happens. I saw one guy back in those days with a Defender 90. We were fording a small river. I don't mean more of like a creek rather than a river. But when I say fording, it wasn't really ford, and we're crossing the water, but there was actually a concrete platform below the surface, and so you could just drive straight across. I don't know what this guy did or how he did it, but he basically missed it. Like he went like right off the side of the concrete platform. So from instead of it being like maybe 10 inches deep or 6 inches deep or whatever it was, I mean, he fell into the creek and filled the the passenger compartment with water. Which, if we're talking about the old school Defenders or old school like TDI modeled like Discoveries, not a big deal. But an American spec V8, with all the electronics, and he was hosed. He was totally hosed. I was like, oh man, he had to have his truck towed back home. And we were up in Vermont. But the problem with like doing the off-roading thing is that, man, you break things all the time. Like every time we would go out, I'd break something and then have to take it, get repaired. It always costs more money. So one of my friends a while back, he was like, hey man, you want to come on? I used to have before I got rid of it, I had it running. And one of my friends, when he heard I had it running, he was like, you want to come out with us? I was like, no, dude. Too much money every time we go out. Too much money. And this is a guy who I used to go out with. And I was like, no, 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 no. I don't want to spend that kind of money. We're kind of going through this kind of fast, which is a good thing. Like, it's smoking well. There was a time when I was saying in the second, third, where it's a little bit like getting a little bit, maybe a little bit boring, right? A little bit like, kind of, but that we kind of passed. It's still kind of interesting now. It's actually very enjoyable. I'm going to say that, let's say for the second, third, since we did have I did feel a little bit like less enjoyment, I guess I would say. I'm going to say 7.75, but the body still continues at 8. Tony says, what's going on is that the new ones are about 50. Oh my God, really? 50? Well, I guess that's not too bad. I mean, I heard recently, or not too long ago, that the price of like an American pickup truck, like the Rams, are like $100,000. So I guess 50 is not terrible. 50 is a lot of money. 50 is a lot of money. This is why people are spending $1,000 a month on their car payments. That's too much. Tony says it's all fun and games until you turn your video. It totally is. Although, in the old days, like I remember watching like Camel Trophy videos where they had the old school Discoveries like mine, but they had the TDI engines, the turbo diesels, and the old school like setups. I remember one video they were fording a river, and what these guys in Camel Trophy did, they took a bunch of those like Pelican cases, strapped them to the vehicle, sank the vehicle into the river using the pelicans as buoyancy, floated across the river. And they strapped it, right? They basically winched it across the river, recovered it, turned it on, and drove away. It's like, that's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. There was always a part of me that was like, I should take this Land Rover and like put a TDI system in it. But the thing about the thing that was really nice about the American spec Discovery was the diesel, the 8-cylinder, the V8 gas, because if you romped on it, it would go. Like it would go. Like this 6,000-pound vehicle would just be like hauling down the roadway. That was kind of fun. And actually, all the British guys were like, "Oh, we want that." It's like, "Ah, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You just don't want to sink in." So far, everything about the cigar has been very good. Smoke production, construction, burn. I mean, excellent. I mean, burn and consistency, I have to say excellent. For $6, this is quite a nice smoke. This could be your daily driver. And you're only spending $6 a cigar, or just over $5 a cigar if you're buying by the bundle. I know, I think maybe this might be one of those no-brainer type of cigars. Like, oh, you should just buy them so you have them. Like in those situations that we talked about where let's say you have your nice cigar, whatever that may be, the Gran Cajonu or the Roma Craft Intemperance or whatever it may be, or the West Tampa. But you don't want to smoke two West Tampas because, they cost more and you don't have as many. You could buy this and have two cigars for a relatively low cost of entry. Tony says, my father round two, the Vegas Cuban Robusto. Oh, nice. Wait, round two, what does that mean? Or my father, or was that a Syrian name? Oh, Cubanas. Okay, Cubanas. So the coffee, very good, very good. Like that's a very nice. It's good enough that I'm going to drink more. Like I told Matt, I said, because he was telling me that he did a batch of this coffee for one of his employees who likes dark roast coffees. Why I don't know, but he likes really dark roasted coffee. So he did a batch for him, and so he tasted that, and he was like, "Oh, this is terrible." And I was like, "Well, yeah, it's not really this cigar, this coffee. I don't think would be great as a dark roast, but as a medium roast that he did later, man, it's solid. All the things you'd want in like a cold brew. Clean, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of acidity, cocoa notes." Ah, it was supposed to be round two. Gotcha. Round two. Oh, it's not the cigar. The cigar's not named round two. It's round two cigar is the Cubanos. Gotcha. I might have to do a round two as well. We still have another 40 minutes. There's no way I can make this last 40 minutes. I'm going to call it now, George. I'm going to say I can't make. I'm going to say I won't be able to make this last that long. I was kind of surprised today that it was 90. Like it was pretty darn hot today. Because last night was fairly cool. And this past week it's been fairly cool. And I was kind of wondering, like, we're in June already. Why is it still cool? But maybe now we're at a point where we're going to be hot. I guess I can be okay with that. I'm supposed to go to a friend's party on Saturday, and my cousin was like, "Well, they have a pool." It's like, dude, it's going to be cold. At least it's cold right now. I'm not going to a pool. It's cold, but if it stays like today, I might go to the pool. Let's take the band off. Since I got the glue stick right here, I'm going to put it on here now. So what do you guys got planned for the weekend? Anything interesting? But if you guys are going shooting, let me know. Maybe I'll be able to come out this weekend on Sunday or something. I've been trying to come out. I was thinking about you. I think you guys went last week or the week before, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to go do that." And then at the last moment, I was like, "Ah." All right, Buffalo 10. There we go. I've been using a new pencil this week. My other pencil, though, if you guys remember, I had this pencil I picked up for like $6 on sale, mechanical pencil called the Tomato. Well, whatever happened to it, it finally gave up the ghost. Like I ran out of lead. I put a new lead in it, and it just refused to click out. Maybe I bent the shaft or something. So I was like, "Oh, this sucks." And I have a whole bunch of like replacement like leads for it. So I was like, "Man, I need to get another pen." But all the reviews that I saw online about the Tomato pen, even though it's made in Taiwan, and everyone's like, "Oh, the pen sucks. It sucks." And I was like, "This is a great pen, or great pencil." And then finally, it stopped working. I was like, "Okay, it does suck." So I went to Towson. I went to Towson to the Plaza Art Supply, and I picked this up. The Pentel Graph Gear 0.5 millimeter mechanical pencil. And it's supposed to be one of the better mechanical pencils, about 20 bucks. But it's quite nice. It actually is retractable, right? Here's the point. So I think maybe what happens, my other one, is that I might have dropped it because they're always falling, and might have hit this little shaft and maybe bent it slightly so it won't feed. This hopefully will prevent it. Like, it's not a clicking retraction. You have to use the little thing here, but 0.5 millimeter leads, so very nice, very nice. A lot of people are into those black wing pencils, and I have a couple of those. But the problem, I think, with the black wings, you always have to, like, I like it, if I'm working on something, I want it to be really fine a point. So I always have to sharpen. I'm always sharpening. I'm sharpening. And I also think that whatever lead is at least in the black wings that I have, it's fairly, what is the black? I find it to be fairly soft. Yeah, I have this one, the Blackwing Pearl, which I picked this up at Bertram's Inkwell in Rockville, Maryland. They're a pen store. They have all these great pens and pencils. And I bought one because I was like, let me try it because I know a lot of people like rave about this pencil. But whatever lead is in this pearl, I think is too soft. Like, it's just too soft for me. Like, I want it to be a little bit harder. And then Festool partnered with Blackwing, and I got this at a special at one of the Festool events. They gave me one. The rep gave me one in their 100th year anniversary version. And I think it's the same lead that's in this pearl because I also think this is too soft a lead for me. And the Festool, they do it so you can see the differences, right? Like, it's got a green or whatever, this crimp for the. And then I see with these black wings, which I guess is similar to a lot of like the mechanical pencils, you can actually take out the eraser. So the eraser is pretty long, and then you can, if you as you're using it, you can open it. There's little teeth in there, and you can extend it, which I think is pretty cool. Because it's like, remember how when we were young and at school, like you run out of eraser, you're trying to get to bulb out. And the Festool one, the same thing. It does. And the nice thing about the Festool version, if you want a Festool one, I don't know, but unlike other Festool stuff, this is about the same price as this, if you were to buy them. So that's not too bad. Yeah, this cigar, quite enjoyable. But so far, I am liking this Pentel Graph Gear 1000. Graph Gear 1000. It has these like little bumps here, which are like maybe silicone or something. So there's actually a little bit of grippiness for your fingers. It's pretty comfortable. I'm not disappointed. And Pentel and the Graph Gear 1000 is, from what I was reading, is supposed by the aficionados, it's supposed to be regarded as one of the better of the mechanical pencils out there. And Pentel's a Japanese company. I don't know what it is, but the Japanese and the Germans, they always make nice stuff. Like, there's another one called, I think it's called Rotring. Very nice. The hummingbird is still here. Still hasn't figured out that he has to fly 2 feet lower. My concern is that, he's going to be here. He can't figure out how to get out of here. He's going to be here. He's not going to be able to eat because he's really tiny. He's going to be dead. And then he's going to start to smell. And I'm going to have to find him all like shriveled up one day. Tony says, I always like my Pentel 5.5 millimeter pencils. Yeah, they're nice. They're nice. I really like them. I like them too. Now I'm a new convert. When it comes to pens, like let's say the gel ink pens from I like the Pentel. Pentel makes a click gel ink commercial pen that I always liked. I think it's very comfortable. When it comes to the gel inks, though, I like it at 0.7 millimeter. I think the 0.5 is too fine in a pen. But for pencil, I think 0.5 is great. I think I tend to favor a little bit thicker when it comes to pens. Even my fountain pen, I like it a little bit. I like the nibs to be a little bit on the thicker side. Although the last one that I got, which is it is, I guess I don't have it here, but this is the Lamy Safari. And this one has I don't know what size it has on it, but this is a fountain pen. And I like this size a lot. This is like a medium nib, I think. But I bought a newer one, a Lamy Safari, or whatever the next one above this is, that's a little bit nicer in the case and all that. And I got the larger, the more bold. And I don't like that. I don't like that nib. But I bought the larger one because if you go to the pen shows, they have these pen doctors. And based on how you write or your preferences, these guys will take your nib and they will shape the nib to fit your style of writing. And I was like, that sounds interesting. So I bought the big, because I brought one time I brought this to the guy and I was like, and he was like, well, it's actually, you dropped this. Evidently he can tell that I dropped this and there's something wrong with the nib. Like it's bent or deformed or something like that, which is probably why it writes a little bit coarsely. So he's like, I can't fix that. It's like, okay, that's fine. I'll get another nib from Bertram's and then come back to you at another pen show. But I missed the pen show in Baltimore back in March. There's a Northern Virginia one, I think, in July. Rusty's asking, side note, any update on the 250th? I'm sorry about that. I totally have forgotten to check on that. I know I was supposed to check with Oregon Ridge, and Tony did send me information about the park up in Pennsylvania. I totally dropped the ball on that. I will try to remember to do that on Monday. Brian's asking, George isn't crazy enough to attend your cigar event at Lutherville. I don't know. Maybe we get Andrew to, if we can entice Andrew to make the drive up, I'm sure George will come along. And I do have some more stuff from George for the volunteers. Actually, I saw Brian the other day, like a week ago, and I was like, totally forgot about it. Andrew says, when I use pencils, I always like the Stedler available in multiple. Oh, yeah, Stedlers are nice. When I was in art school, I had the Stedler ones, not like these, right? Was it Stedler? Remember the mechanical? Are they considered mechanical pencils? Whatever, Andrew, you know this better. Maybe they're architectural pencils where it had this kind of I think it had this kind of click thing, but they were bigger. The leads were bigger, and then you actually shave the point with a sharpener. I really liked those. I liked those back then. What I really liked, I had one of those mechanical pens, I think that's what they're called, for architectural type drawing. They would have like this type of hole. Like it would be a pen that you refilled, like a fountain pen, but it didn't have a nib like this, right? It didn't have nibs. It had like very particularly sized holes or tubes in different thicknesses for very like mechanical type drawings. I really like those. I had a set of those, and I had it in a kit. I had one of those like art bin boxes with my stuff. And I thought about it like maybe 6 months ago. I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. It's probably just buried somewhere. But I would love to use those pens again. Like it was, I don't think the ones that I had were rapidographs. I think they were Stedlers. But they were, I think, the same thing. I mean, it's been a heck of a long time. I mean, that was 30 years ago. Or maybe closer to 35 years ago rather than, or 40 years ago. Yeah, but I think the brand that I had was the Mars Stedler. Back at a time when I fashioned myself an artist, doing graphic design. I was never very good. I must have these allergies again. I went to see my PCP the other day, and I was like, sometimes I have these sniffles. She's like, I think you might have allergies. Like, and I told her, I want to believe that I don't, but maybe I do. Andrew says, yeah, computers took pens over pens. Yeah, because remember, in the old days, when you use those pens, you'd be working like on vellum, and you draw the line, and then you had to put the powder to dry it up, and then you'd sweep it with a little brush, make all this mess. And I always wanted an architectural table, like a drafting table, with the arm that had the square on it. I always thought those were cool. I was like, oh, I want one of those. But hard to believe that we're from an era that all that was done by hand. Yeah, no doubt, Tony. No doubt, no doubt. Like even in the woodworking world, right? Like if I watch YouTube videos about woodworking guys, they all talk about a computer app called SketchUp. So they do all their design work in SketchUp, and I'm like, I I don't really want to. I don't really want to learn that. I just want to like do it on paper. That's what I'm comfortable doing. Just draw it out on paper with a ruler. Work out your dimensions. I mean, you can't really do all that 3D modeling that they do with the SketchUp, but this is my 3D model. So, coming along well. Not disappointing. One thing I have found, as I've been using this paint stripper, like I said, I'm using a so-called citrus strip that's supposed to be not too toxic, not too caustic. And but they do say to use gloves. So I was using these nitrile gloves that I use for most everything. But man, it just, it just not dissolves it, but it definitely messes with the integrity of the glove, because I've like replaced them all the time. When I was brushing yesterday, I was like, man. And then I was using like sponge brushes to sponge it down, because I got a whole bunch of them because they're cheap. And man, it tears up those sponges. I'm like, oh, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But rolling along this cigar, I said about 20 minutes ago that I don't think it's going to last, but maybe it will. Now we're still here. So it's a fairly nice smoking cigar. The 5x56, good length. I mean, as far as burn. And earlier on in the second third, we noted that it was maybe a little bit boring, but it's not been boring since that period where it was a little bit like, okay, it's got a robust flavor now to it. It's very like full on the palate for $6. Like when you read those descriptions on Two Guys Cigars, Garofalo like has a lot of superlatives, right? A lot of sounds really nice. Like what do they say here again? The Buffalo 10 is a study in the art of cigar making. With the toothy Mexican San Andres wrapper of the Maduro and the rare Negrito tobacco binder, and the exclusive 7+ year aged T13 hybrid filler. Some bold claims there. The cigar is packed with flavor. Like I said earlier, it was also like, I thought it was missing the depth that other cigars have. This last third, it's built up. It feels deeper now. Not tremendously deeper, but a little more deeper. Which is, it's still keeping it interesting. I also have the Connecticut version for another upcoming episode, so we'll have that in the future. And then I've got a nice selection of cigars to choose from for the next few weeks. Marvin, when he was visiting from Hawaii, gave me two of his exclusive or limited release Hawaii release cigars from Stolen Thrones. So we got two of those. We'll try those at some point. And we talked about the Roma Craft Maestranza, that Castillo de Murcia, that yellow banded one. And a lot of people I talked to have remarked that compared to other Romas, the Maestranza is lighter. It's a lighter cigar, but as I've been smoking more of them, I feel like they're still kind of heavy. There's been a couple times I've been smoking them, and like maybe as I get into the third, I'm like, it's pretty heavy. Like maybe I haven't smoked enough of the other ones to like be reminded that maybe it's not so heavy, but it feels heavy sometimes. Brian's asking, is Steve out there yet or still working? I think he's still working. Like you said last week, he's since Arizona doesn't change times, he's on West Coast time. So that is a pretty significant change. Hopefully get to join us. So how's your guys' cigars coming along? Any disappointments? Any surprises, revelations? I haven't smoked too much this week. Well, actually, I've smoked almost every day this week, mostly through the Roma stuff that Mike Rosales gave to me. Oh, and I did have one of the Tatuai 20th anniversaries that our friend Dave gave to me as well. That's still a very great cigar. If you haven't tried the 20th anniversary Tatuai, that's a very nice cigar. What I like about that cigar compared to the Romas is that it doesn't have the heft that Romas have. It's got beautiful complexity, but just not as heavy. Andrew says, I'm on the final puffs of the Cabaguan. Nice. And on to a La Galera. Oh my gosh, that is a nice smoke. If you guys haven't heard of that, a couple years back, we did a show from the tobacco shop in Ridgewood or Ridgefield in New Jersey, and George brought the Imperial Jade from La Galera for that. And I thought that was, even to this day, every time I have one, I still think it's a stellar cigar. I think it was originally a cigar that was going to be released for the Chinese market, but then I think he decided to release it here in America. And man, that is, if you get, I think it's not heavy like a lot of cigars, but the complexity is just beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful smoke. Although I'm curious to know, Andrew, as you start on that, how the Imperial Jade holds up after the Cabaguan, right? Like in my mind, and I don't know if this is just me, this is maybe just conjecture, but in my mind, I would think that the Cabaguan would be heavier than the Imperial Jade. So in the times that I've had cigars that I smoked that were more delicate in flavor, after a heavier cigar, I've lost. Like I remember there was a time when I used to smoke a lot of these Series Privada 1975, or Series Privada 1975 Dominican-made cigars from Pinol del Rio, PDR cigars, right? And they had this Maduro of that line, the Series 1975 Maduro, in their SP 54 ring gauge, box pressed. Fabulous, fabulous cigar, but very delicate in flavor. So it had to be the very first cigar I smoked in order for me to enjoy it. Because if I smoked something else, like let's say a Tatuai, and then went to that, especially if I smoked a Roma Craft and then went to that, I was wasting my money because I couldn't taste. It was so much more delicate than the other cigars that I was smoking that I wouldn't be able to taste and appreciate it because my palate had become so used to a heavier cigar. So I'm curious to know, as you're getting into it, how that works out. Tony says that La Maestranza is definitely more balanced and still has tons of flavor. Absolutely, absolutely. It is very balanced, but I have found it at times, and maybe that's just depending on what I was, doing that day. But there was time when by the time I got to the last third, I was like, it's kind of heavy now. I should put this down. And since I brought down that tree, or chopped up that tree, I've had a lot of wood, so I've been burning through that. And as I was working some other projects here, I had a lot more cutoffs. So I'm like, I need to burn a lot because otherwise, if you don't burn your cutoffs or get rid of them, like they just pile up. And you see these guys on like YouTube and woodworking guys, they got like stacks and stacks of wood. I'm like, what are you doing with all those cutoffs? They can't even use them. I might use it, and that's the problem with guys, right? We're like, I'm going to keep this piece of wood because I might have a need for it someday over the next 20 years. So I'm trying to be conscious about not keeping too much wood around, although I do have more than I should. And I still want to go visit my sawmill guy and be like, hey, I think I need something. Now, I'm working on a design right now for a lounge chair. Kind of mid-century modern-ish, but I'm trying to think about how to make it more of my cigar, or not necessarily mine, but a cigar chair. something comfortable to have a cigar with arms that are big enough that you can put your cup down, put your cigar down on it, and be comfortable. Like, you know, sometimes when you're smoking cigars, like, where do you put your ashtray? Where do you put your cigar? Where do you put your drink? I have an idea for that. So coming along nicely, and the cigar and the coffee go very well. I'm very much enjoying it. Oh, it's rather heavy enough. You know, it's very for a $6 cigar. You know, even if this was like almost twice the price, if this was in the $10 range, still be very solid. So I think it is a nice value at $6. Now it's starting to get hot and getting like almost to the end. Ooh, it is, yeah, it's definitely getting hot. Almost to the point where it's going to burn my fingers. But I think we can go now to the scoring of this last third. I still think it's a very good cigar at 8. Body is 8, so another 16. We've had no relights, good production of smoke. Construction is excellent. Burn and draw have been excellent. I mean, very, very high marks for those categories. So I'm going to say excellent for that. Consistency, very, very, I'm going to say very good. 8.75, because it's not excellent. We did have that point where it did have a little bit of boringness for us. Ah, there you are, Stephen. How, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Welcome to the show. Glad you're able to join us on West Coast time. So let's see. Overall, I'm going to say 8.5. And then an 8.5 here. This gives us all right. So here's what we got. A lot of 8s, a lot of very goods. We'll drop down a little bit in the second, third for the flavor, as it got a little bit, for lack of a better word, tedious. But it came back in the last third. So very, very good. So very good. Well, just very good. So total score 82. So a nice cigar for this week. Paulo. Okay, let me get this. Inginoli, is that right? Paulo Inginoli, is that right? Am I getting that right? Let me know if I said that correctly. Good to see you. Welcome to the show. If you're just joining us for the first time, we do this Thursday night hang and smoke cigars and have coffee every Thursday night at 8 p.m. So burning it down. It's very nice. I'm actually surprised that we were able to run the full time with this. Back at about 40 minutes ago, I was thinking we're not going to make it. But now it's really burning my fingers. But I'm enjoying it, so I want to kind of keep it A couple more puffs would be nice. So I'm switching hands because it's overheating my fingertips. And now I'm running out of place to hold it so I can puff. Even though we're so close, it's not, on the palate, it's not burning my palate. My fingertips, yes. Palate, no. Not too heavy, but the heaviness has increased into the last third. All right, one more. Ouch. Okay, that I can't do. Rusty says, I'm on the tail end of the My Blue Heaven. Don't want to end that also. Nice. Yeah, it's always nice when you have a nice cigar. You don't want it to end. Tony says, time for the matchstick. I know, I wish I had one. I probably should have just shoved it onto my pencil. I probably could have done that. And the coffee, how's the coffee? All gone. Just the right timing. All right, so there it is. What is this called? The Buffalo 10 Maduro, made with Mexican San Andres wrapper, rare Negrito debinder, and an exclusive 7+ year age T13 hybrid in the filler, which I'm sure it has other fillers. It says it's packed with flavor, and actually it's been a very good cigar. Very good cigar, 82 points. And at a price point that is really great. $6 if you buy it individually, or just over $5 if you buy them by the bundle from Two Guys Cigars. I don't know if they're the ones that make it, but it's pretty good. Whew. All right, like I said, next week we're going to be on the road in Philadelphia, in that area, because I'm going to go visit the Wharton Escherick Museum. So we're going to be broadcasting from there. I'll have another cigar for us next week. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. We're going to be heading out. So hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world, and see you next time.